Alright guys, so it is a lot later and I believe these are dry. So what I'm going to do is just start cutting them down, cutting the napkin down. I'm going to leave a little overhang because what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue that over and just make it a little nicer as you see it, you know, when you put the book in and you open up your little envelope or your bag there. It'll just make it a little nicer. Now I'm going to wait to cut down my bag because part of the bag, you know, is going to be gone. I guess you could do a trifold. That would be fun too, to do a little trifold something in your bag as well. So anyway, this is kind of what it looked like. This is what I did off camera. I just went ahead and got it ready so that it would be dry at the same time. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little glue. And I'm just going to put it here. I'm not going to worry about Mod Podge or medium. I'm just going to use some glue to hold it. And that'll just give it a nice little look at the top of the bag. So that's kind of what I'm going for. You just have to be easy because the bag is, the napkin is going to be very thin and kind of fragile. So, okay, and I'm just going to take it and bend it over. Alright, now it won't take that glue long to dry. Kind of get the excess off. Okay, and so that's going to be really, really nice right there. Get that cut a little nicer there. Alright. So, now what we're going to do is we're going to end up folding this up and see where we overlapped. You can't even really, it came more on the back side. This will be my front side. And it's not so terrible that, you know, that it looks bad. But you have to overlap it somewhat if you want them both going, you know, both facing up when you turn it. Because if you just do one sheet of paper, one napkin, without doing that, then you're going to have this part's going to be upside down. So, you know, and if that's okay, then you know, just do it the one way if that's what you prefer without having to do the mess of, you know, splitting it. Okay, so what I want to do is, and I can see that maybe isn't glued right there. So I'm just going to set a little glue in it. Alright, because I'm sewing my bag, what I will end up doing is I'm going to sew these, I'll sew the sides down and close it. But you can easily, you know, just glue it if that's, if you're not doing a no-sew there. Okay, so what I want to do before I can do that is I want to get my handle made. Now what I did was I took 3 pieces of twine, you know, and kind of just decided how long I wanted to make my little handles there and just kind of eyeballed it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 3 pieces of equal length twine, okay, because I'm going to braid it. Now I found if I was able to clip it, it made it so much easier to braid. So I'm just going to tie a knot here on one end. Oops. I'm going to tie a knot on one end here. Okay. Alright, and then I took a clip. I have some clips, and I have a little place here I can clip it in front of me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start braiding. Okay, now you all can't see, but I just have a little shelf. But you could use a cup, you could use anything. And you just want to start braiding and try to braid it tight and not loose. Okay. Okay, so I've got to the bottom of my braiding here. And then what I'm going to do is just tie another knot to keep my braid together. Alright. And I usually leave a little hangover. I don't cut it right to the, right to the knot. But there's our little braid that'll be for our handle. Alright. So now I will sew mine in. I'm just going to take this, and sometimes a lot of people like to leave that little knot out. I am actually going to put it on the inside and pull it this away. I don't want it showing. So I'm going to tack this, is what I'm going to do with the sewing machine, just here and here. And then I will do the same thing on this side, and I may have to cut this down. I may have gotten it a little too big. And what I'll do is I'll just move my knot, and just end up tying it further up. That's what I'll end up doing. And then I'm just going to take it in here, and I'm going to seam across it with my machine to hold this here. And then I'm going to sew here on my sides to get it stitched down. So I am going to go ahead and do that. And then I'll be back and we will work on the little book. Okay, so I've got my little bag. I've got the sides stitched, and there we are. There's our little bag right there. And there's our handle. And like I said, I cut the handle down just a little bit. So I left my little knots on the inside. I didn't want to pull them out to the outside. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is figure out how big of the bag the book needs to be on the inside. This is kind of what my book looked like on the other one. I just added like a little tag there on the inside, a couple little tags, little Tim Holtz tag. And this is what I had used, was just like the little part that comes in it. I just used it for part of our book. So there is some decorative stitching on the pages and just some little fun. Your book can't be very big, as you know, when you're putting them in those little bags. And I got another little tag there. Did the same thing, just made a pocket out of that. So, and you can see all the little funky stitching there on the, now I did not Mod Podge or collage podge or medium the inside of this. I just left it as the tissue paper. So alright, and then I just took some twine there and just wrapped it around, is what I did for the little book. So, but you could use ribbon. You don't necessarily have to use twine. I just like the twine. So we just gonna, oops. Alright, and there's just our little book. Slides in the bag. Okay, so let's get the little book made. And I just take this and kind of folded it in half, and it's still got the fold in it, but I'm going to cut that off when I'll cut it off like here for the pages, and that'll give me a couple of pages in the book. Alright, get rid of the tissue here. Alright, so to determine how big I want the book, which I think I might want to make it just a little bit bigger than this one. That's a 4, so I think I'm going to make this, I'm going to try 4.5, and I can cut it down if it isn't going to work. So let's try this at 4.5. Okay. And here's my little folded piece. And what I'll do is I'll end up probably making the pockets out of that. So. Okay, let's see if that will fit or if it needs to go a little smaller. No, I think it might have to go a hair smaller. So we're just going to take a 1/4 inch off. We'll make it 4 1/4. Alright, and that should work just fine. I'm going to cut my little piece in half because I will use it for the pocket. Okay, so then what I want to do is just start getting scraps of paper. Just finding scraps here and there. And I think I will tear this one. The other one I pretty much cut perfectly. But this one here I think I'll just tear the paper. It's kind of like the little scrappy books. Okay, let's see what that is. Okay, I got to make bigger ones, but... Okay, so I want to figure out... I'll probably just make this my front. Okay. Alright, I need to get some scrap paper. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, kind of get an idea of okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rip it. I'm going to make this one a little scrappy book. Okay. So I'll do this so it's the same size. I'm just going to take and cut it with my scissors. Okay. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to put a piece of this in there. Okay. And I'm just going to start ripping it down. A little bit of grungy in it. Okay. And same way, take that and just cut it with my scissors. That one may just about, yeah, that one will be okay. Alright, so let's just start filling the book. So I'm just going to add my pages like so. Let's put a little grungy in there. We use that one there, and there. Okay, and that will be our, okay, and I can see I'm going to be a little bit too big there, but it'll be okay. I may just run the cover a little big, so. Alright, so this is, because I want Santa in the front, I want him on the front, I'm going to kind of place this, yeah, I think I want it just like that, so I'm going to kind of crease that a little, okay, and I'm going to take and I'm just going to, Not any measuring going on here, just kind of cutting and okay. Alright, so I can see my half is going to cover that just fine. I want to cover up that little places right there where I've torn. Alright, so I'm just going to fold this. And I can tell I've cut just a little crooked, so. All right, and then I want to take off the excess here. Now, when you put your insert in, you can either do your 3-hole pamphlet stitch to put it in. I'm actually going to sew it in. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to sew around this one more time to hold this paper together, hold my tissue together, instead of gluing it. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to sew the signature in. That's what I'm going to do, just sew my signature in, okay? And then I'll probably go ahead and put some of the little fancy stitches in it. I probably won't put any little tabs and things unless I just add, you know, something I've already got here or something. But or I can add a little thing there. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do, and we will come back and see what it looks like. All right, so I have got it all sewn together, and I've got my little book sewn in here. I went ahead and did my little stitching on some of the pages there. And so now what I want to do is I thought I would make this for a pocket. I still had this piece left over from the little candy bag. And I just went around it with some black. It was stitched in white, but I just went around it with some black. And I thought that would make a fun pocket right in the front. So let's go ahead and get it glued in there. It's just the right size, and it just adds a little fun element to it there. So we're going to make that the pocket. Alright, and that'll be a fun little pocket there. And then in the back, I just stitched around this. I didn't do the crisscross on this one, and I think I'm just going to put it right there for a pocket. So this is a pretty simple project. The only time-consuming part about it is the letting the napkin dry. When you decoupage. That is the longest part of this whole little project. Alright, so I've got a real big mess here on my table. Alright, so then when those dry, they'll be ready just to put a little something in. So just a fun little idea. Here was I may put a couple of these in here, but I want to stitch around them. I may put it like there, just some little Christmas sayings there. I may put them in just here and there to fill up the book a little bit. But that is basically going to be all I do, and I'll put something a little bit in the pocket there. A little bit of something in the pocket there. So make sure it fits. After all that, yeah, I'm glad I cut it down 1/4 inch because it's just barely fitting in there. So, okay, so I want to show you how I did for the tag, because I don't have any little bitty tags. So let me clean a little bit of this off, swish it away here, keeps hanging onto my sleeve. Okay, so what I took is just a tag that I had stained, and I think I'm going to use the cutter for this. So what I do is I'm gonna take this, and I'm just gonna cut it really close to my. I'm just gonna leave a little bit because I want the tag to be really small. Okay, so I'm just going to take it, see how I cut it. Now I don't want to get too close to it because I still want to, a little bit of tag there. But I'm going to have to even it up because I want it to look even on both sides. I don't want it to be, there we go. Okay, right there's the tag. And then all I have to do is just cut off how long I want it. So I just took a big tag and I've just cut it down. Kind of cut it down where I wanted it. And I still look a little uneven there. I'm gonna, okay. So then what I have done is I've just took it there. And I put some twine, and I also used a piece of the seam binding on it. Now I'm going to take this and go around my handle. And I'm going to put it in that side. Okay, so what we want to do now is let's just tie a knot. Alright. And we'll probably have to put 2 knots to make sure it doesn't go through that hole. Okay, so I'm coming up a little bit. I want it to be able to hang down a little bit from the thing. Oh, you know what? I think 1 knot's going to be fine. Yep, I thought 2 would have to go, you know, you'd have to have 2 so it didn't run through that hole, but I think it'll be fine. Alright, so then what I am going to do is just take a piece of my stained seam binding here, and we'll get it on the end of the handle. And let's just, we can either leave it like that, or we can tie it in a bow. And I'm thinking I don't want the knot. Most times I don't put a knot. I think the knot's going to be too much. Okay, so let's do this. Let's just make the bow. Alright, let's just make the bow. It usually takes a minute to work the bow around. It does for me anyway, to get it in place. Okay, and there we are. We have our little tag, we have our little bow, and then all we'll have to do is put our little tags in, and if we're gonna, you know, put the little elf, the little things there. And then what I do is I just take a piece of twine, and I usually cut it, you know, fairly long, because I want this to wrap a couple of times around the book. Alright, and then there is our little book to go inside our little bag, and I want this part, not the raw part. I like the other part showing. And we'll stick it in our little bag, and there we are, guys. Another fun little project, and you can always put your Merry Christmas or something that you want there. But like I said, anything I change on any of these things, I will have at the intro anyway, and you'll be able to see what I added to or something there. So, all right, so guys, have a great day, and I don't think I'll have another video out before Christmas. So, have a Merry Christmas, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.